All right, welcome back. So we're finally at the last part of our deep dive into the circular economy and zero waste living.
Yeah.
And
I'm excited for this one.
this time we're going to be looking ahead to the future.
Looking ahead.
So by now, you've got, hopefully, a really good grasp on the concepts, the practical applications of this whole idea.
Yeah.
But now we're going to explore what the future might actually hold for this whole movement.
Right.
Both the challenges, the roadblocks that we might encounter, but also,
Possibilities.
yeah, the exciting breakthroughs that could be just around the corner.
Yeah, that's what gets me jazzed about this stuff. It's
Yeah.
like we're on the verge of something truly transformative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And are you ready to see what that future might look like? What it has in store for our planet and
I think so.
how we can all play a part.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, fantastic. So, obviously, the idea of a fully circular economy and a zero waste society, it's incredibly appealing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Sign me up.
Who wouldn't want that?
Right.
But as with everything in life, the path to get there, it's not always going to be smooth sailing, right?
Not always, no. It's definitely an exciting time to be thinking about this stuff, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But as you said, there are some serious challenges that we need to consider if we want to make this vision a reality.
Okay, let's talk about that.
All right.
What are some of these big obstacles that you think we might encounter on this road ahead?
Well, I'd say one of the most significant hurdles is actually bridging that gap between the technologies we already have. The innovative waste management and resource recovery technologies. We've got some amazing stuff out there right now.
Right.
But the problem is the infrastructure.
Oh, I see.
We need to implement them on a much larger scale.
So it's not enough to have the technology. We need to actually be able to use it.
Exactly. it's like having a cutting-edge electric car, but there are no charging stations anywhere.
Right.
Or very few. It's like, what's the point?
It's frustrating.
It is. It's like we're almost there, but not quite.
Yeah.
And, that's a big part of what we need to figure out, how to scale these solutions up.
Right. And then on that note, I imagine the financial side of things
Oh, absolutely.
can be pretty daunting.
Yeah. The money. Always the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially for smaller businesses.
It's a huge barrier for entry
Right.
for a lot of companies, because transitioning to circular models often requires a lot of upfront investment.
Yeah, like new equipment, new processes.
All of that. And for a small company
Yeah.
with limited budgets, that can be a real challenge, a deal breaker even.
It's a tough sell sometimes,
Yeah.
convincing them that it's worth it in the long run.
Yeah, it's a long game, for sure.
And then there's the whole, issue of policies and regulation.
No, don't even get me started on that.
Right. Because it's
It's a minefield.
it's a complex world.
It is. And what's considered sustainable in one place might not be
Yeah.
feasible somewhere else.
Right, because of these conflicting or incomplete regulations.
That's a mess, frankly.
Right, and that creates so much uncertainty for businesses.
Yeah, they don't know what to do.
And it can really slow down the whole process.
Absolutely. It's like one step forward, two steps back sometimes
Yeah.
with all these inconsistencies.
It almost feels like we need a more unified approach, like on a global level,
Wouldn't that be great?
to really make significant headway,
Yeah, it would be so much easier if we were all on the same page.
Right, but then even with all of these broader systemic challenges, it seems like consumer behavior still plays a massive role too.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right. Because it's one thing to have the technology and the infrastructure.
It's all useless if people don't actually use it.
Right. If people aren't on board with changing their habits.
Yeah. The human factor is huge in all of this.
It's all for naught, it feels like.
Exactly. We can't force people to change.
Right.
We have to inspire them.
Yeah. So how do we do that? How do we shift those cultural norms away from this throwaway mindset?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And it's not an easy answer, but I think it starts with education and awareness, We need to move beyond just telling people to recycle more.
Right.
We need to help them see waste as a valuable resource, not just something to get rid of.
Yeah, like a missed opportunity.
Exactly.
It makes me think of something I read about San Francisco's Zero Waste program.
Oh, yeah.
They've had incredible success in diverting waste from landfills.
Yeah, they're kind of a model for the rest of the world.
Right, but it makes me wonder, how replicable is that kind of program,
Good question.
in other parts of the world, in different cultural contexts?
Absolutely. Context is everything.
Yeah, and socioeconomic conditions.
That's a really important point because what works brilliantly in San Francisco with its, strong environmental awareness and supportive infrastructure might not translate smoothly to regions with different priorities or resources.
Yeah.
It really highlights the need for flexible solutions tailored to specific communities
What?
and their unique challenges. A one-size-fits-all approach just won't cut it.
Right. It's got to be adaptable.
It does. We need to be able to adapt to different situations and find solutions that actually work for those specific contexts.
All right. So we've talked about some of the challenges, but I have to remain optimistic here.
Me too, me too.
Right. We can't get bogged down in the negativity.
No, because challenges often breed innovation, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some of those exciting opportunities and breakthroughs on the horizon.
Okay. I like where this is going.
Right. That could help us overcome these hurdles and accelerate the transition to a circular economy.
All right. Let's get into it.
So what are you seeing out there?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. We're seeing some remarkable breakthroughs in material science, product design, and waste management. Oh, wow.
That have the potential to completely revolutionize our relationship with waste. Imagine materials that can biodegrade completely, leaving no trace behind.
Wow.
Or technologies that can recycle materials that were previously considered impossible to recover.
Wait, are we talking about like self-healing materials
Uh-huh.
and robots that sort our trash for us?
Well, maybe not quite that futuristic, but it's certainly heading in that direction.
Okay.
And the best part is that these advancements aren't just happening in labs and research centers.
Right.
They're starting to make their way into the real world.
Well, that's great.
For example, there's a company called Ecovative Design that's creating packaging materials from mushrooms.
Wait, what?
Literally growing packaging that's completely compostable.
Packaging from mushrooms. It's wild.
I know, right?
So instead of like styrofoam peanuts that just sit in landfills for centuries,
Yeah.
we could have packaging that just breaks down
Right back into the earth.
and nourishes the soil.
It's amazing.
It's hard to wrap my head around that. That's incredible. And what about the economic impact of all of this?
Oh, that's a big one, too.
Yeah, because it seems like embracing circularity
Yeah.
could actually create a lot of new opportunities and jobs, right?
Absolutely. The transition to a circular economy has the potential to stimulate economic growth and create tons of jobs in sectors like recycling, remanufacturing, and renewable energy.
Okay.
These industries are poised for significant growth as we move away from that linear take, make, dispose model towards a more circular and sustainable system.
So it's a win-win, really.
It is for both the planet and the economy.
That's fantastic. And it feels like, I don't know, it feels like we're on the cusp of a major paradigm shift here.
Yeah.
One that could have a really profoundly positive impact on the way we live and interact with our world.
I agree. And what's particularly fascinating is that these changes can also make our societies more resilient in the face of future challenges. Whether we're talking about economic downturns, resource scarcity, or environmental disasters, a circular economy can help us adapt and thrive in a rapidly changing world. It's about creating a system that is inherently more robust and adaptable, able to withstand shocks and disruptions.
Right. So it's not just about minimizing our negative impact.
Right.
It's about actively creating a more resilient and thriving future.
Exactly. It's about building a better world for ourselves and for generations to come.
Okay, that's a compelling argument for embracing circularity. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about what all this means for the listener who's tuned in to this deep dive.
Yeah, let's bring it back to the individual level.
Right, because we've laid out all these challenges and opportunities on a global scale, but what can each of us do to be a part of this change? What actions can we take in our own lives?
Yeah, what can we do today?
Yeah, to embrace a more circular lifestyle.
That's a great question. And it's important to remember that the future isn't predetermined. It's shaped by the choices we make every day, both individually and collectively. The first step is to stay informed, to keep learning about the circular economy and the many ways it's being implemented.
Yeah.
We've included a ton of great resources in the show notes to get you started.
Perfect. And I think it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the scale of all these issues.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
It's easy to feel like your individual actions don't matter, but that's simply not true.
Right. Every little bit counts.
It does. Every single choice we make can have a ripple effect.
Okay, so what are some of those choices? What are some practical ways that the listener can contribute?
Well, one thing you can do is support businesses with circular models. You can vote with your wallet, essentially.
Okay.
Another thing is to advocate for policy changes.
Right, like write to your representative.
Exactly. Let them know that this is important to you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, just spreading awareness in your communities, talking to your friends and family about this stuff.
Right, just getting the word out.
Exactly. The more people who understand the benefits of a circular economy and zero waste living, the faster we can make this transition.
It's about building a movement, really.
It is a collective effort to create a more sustainable and equitable future for all.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it all starts with awareness, right?
Absolutely.
With understanding of the challenges and the opportunities.
Yeah.
And recognizing that each of us has a role to play in shaping the future.
We all have a part to play, big or small.
But before we dive deeper into those specific actions we can take,
Yeah.
I think it's important to explore the role of technology in all of this.
Oh, technology is huge in all of this.
Because it seems like technology has the potential to be both a driver of the problem and a source of solutions.
Right. It's a double-edged sword.
When it comes to sustainability.
Yeah, it's helped to create the mess we're in, but it can also help us clean it up.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit more.
Let's do it. Yeah. You've hit the nail on the head. Technology definitely has like a dual role in this whole thing.
It's complicated.
It is. On the one hand, it's fueled so much of this overconsumption and waste we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Think about all the gadgets, the constant stream of new gadgets, and then all the e-waste that just piles up.
It's like planned obsolescence, right?
Yeah,
They just
basically,
want you to keep buying new things.
Yeah, and it's like technology has just put the take, make, dispose model
On fast forward.
Exactly.
But it also feels like technology is kind of evolving
It is.
alongside our understanding of all this, right?
Yeah, it's like a parallel process.
Yeah, we're uncovering all these problems, and at the same time, we're developing new tools to try and
Fix them.
tackle them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a race against time, in a way.
It is, but it's exciting too, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's what makes this field so dynamic.
Yeah.
We're seeing this convergence of technology and sustainability
Yeah.
with the potential for like truly transformative change.
Okay, so it's not just doom and gloom.
No, not at all. There's so much hope here.
It sounds like we're on the cusp of this
Yeah.
new era of innovation.
Driven by a real understanding of the challenges
Yeah.
and a genuine commitment to finding solutions that work for everyone.
So it's not just about profits anymore.
No, it's about people and the planet too.
Okay, good.
It's a triple bottom line approach.
I like that.
People, planet, profit.
Yeah.
It's the only way forward.
All right. So this innovation, it's not just happening in like labs and research facilities,
Well,
right?
that's happening everywhere.
It's happening out in the real world.
Yeah, small startups, big corporations, grassroots organizations, government agencies. It's a global phenomenon.
Wow. So it's like a global network,
It is. It's like this interconnected web of change makers.
all working towards this common goal.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. It's inspiring.
It is.
Okay. So let's get down to brass tacks here. Let's talk about some specific ways that technology is actually propelling the circular economy forward.
Okay, what are you most excited about?
Well, I'm really fascinated by what's happening in material science.
Oh, yeah.
We're seeing these bio-based and biodegradable materials being developed.
Yeah, those are game changers.
And then on the other hand, incredibly durable materials that are designed to last for generations.
Right. It's about designing for different purposes.
Yeah.
Some things we want to biodegrade quickly, others we want to last forever.
And those new materials are crucial, right?
Absolutely. We need those building blocks
For creating products that are designed with circularity in mind.
from the very beginning.
And speaking of design, we're also seeing so much innovation in recycling technologies,
Oh, yeah. That's a hot area right now.
especially for materials that have been really hard to recycle in the past, like plastics and electronics.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
I was reading about a company that's using AI
Oh, wow.
to sort and identify different types of plastic.
I've heard about that. That's amazing.
Apparently, that's like a huge bottleneck in traditional recycling facilities.
Yeah, it's a manual process and it's really inefficient.
So AI is coming in and
Automating it.
revolutionizing the whole process.
Exactly. And it's not just sorting. AI can also help with processing and analyzing waste streams.
Oh.
It's making it possible to recover more materials
Hmm.
and minimize contamination.
So we're getting smarter about how we handle waste.
We're using data and technology to optimize the whole system.
And then there's this whole world of digital platforms that are facilitating the sharing economy.
Oh, yeah, the sharing economy is huge.
Right.
It's changing how we think about ownership
So instead of everyone needing to own their own car,
or their own tools or their own whatever,
right,
we can share them.
and that can have a big impact on reducing consumption and waste, right?
Absolutely. Because if we're sharing things, we don't need to produce as many of them in the first place.
It's like we're shifting from an ownership model to an access model.
Exactly. It's about access over ownership.
Which makes so much sense in a circular economy.
It does. Because it's about using resources more efficiently.
And these platforms, they can also be used to track products.
Oh, yeah, that's another big one.
Right, throughout their entire life cycle.
Yeah, it's like giving products a digital passport.
Oh, I like that.
So we can trace their journey.
And make sure they don't end up in a landfill.
Exactly. It's about closing the loop.
It's incredible to see how technology is playing a role in all of this, you know?
It is. It's like technology is finally catching up with our values.
Right, like we're finally starting to use it for good.
Yeah, for something bigger than ourselves.
Okay, but let's bring it back down to earth a little bit.
Right.
And talk about the role of individuals in all of this.
Yeah. What can we do as individuals?
Right, because we've talked about these big picture solutions, these technological advancements.
The big ideas.
But what are some tangible actions that listeners can take?
Yeah, in their daily lives.
Yeah, to actually embrace this more circular approach.
Yeah. Well, one of the most fundamental things is just becoming more mindful of our consumption habits.
Okay.
Before you buy something new, ask yourself a few questions. Do I really need this? Could I borrow it? Rent it? Find a used version?
Right. It's about moving away from that I need to own it mentality.
Yeah, exactly. We're so conditioned to think that we need to own everything.
Yeah, but it's not true.
It's not. We can access things without owning them.
And often that's a much better option.
It is, for our wallets and for the planet.
So it's about embracing that use it when you need it approach.
Exactly. Access over ownership.
And when you do need to make a purchase,
Yeah,
it's about prioritizing quality over quantity.
absolutely. Look for durable, repairable products.
Yeah.
Made from sustainable materials.
I know you're a big advocate for repairing and repurposing items whenever possible.
Oh, I love fixing things. It's so satisfying.
It's like giving things a second life.
It is. And it keeps them out of landfills.
Plus, it saves you money.
Often, yeah. And it's a fun challenge.
It's like tapping into that maker spirit.
Yeah, exactly. Getting your hands dirty and creating something new.
But let's face it, not everyone's a DIY enthusiast.
True. Not everyone likes to tinker.
So what are some other practical steps that people can take?
Well, composting is a great one.
Oh yeah, composting is fantastic.
It's easy to do, and it reduces your household waste significantly.
And you get free fertilizer out of it.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
And then, of course, recycling.
Yeah, recycling's still important.
But it can be confusing, right?
It can be. The rules are different everywhere
Yeah, so it's important to educate yourself.
about what can and can't be recycled in your area.
Those recycling symbols can be misleading.
They can be. So do your research.
I'm sure you're following the proper procedures.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
And don't underestimate the power of sharing your knowledge with others.
Oh, that's huge.
Talk to your friends and family about this stuff.
Yeah, spread word.
Offer tips for reducing waste.
Exactly. Be an advocate for change.
Support businesses that are doing things right.
Yeah, vote with your wallet.
It's about creating that ripple effect.
It is. One person can make a difference.
And those individual actions,
They add up.
they become even more powerful when they're coupled with these systemic changes.
Absolutely. It's a two-pronged approach.
So it's individual action, policy changes.
Yeah, and technological innovation.
It all works together.
It does. It's a beautiful synergy.
And speaking of policy changes, are there any particular policies that you think are crucial for this whole transition?
Oh, yeah, there are a few that are really exciting.
Okay, what are some examples?
Well, one that's gaining traction globally is extended producer responsibility, or EPR.
EPR, have I heard of that?
Maybe it's about holding companies accountable for the entire life cycle of their product,
Oh yeah, like they're responsible for what happens to it.
even after the consumer is done with it.
Okay, so explain that a little bit more.
Sure. So with EPR, manufacturers are actually tasked with managing the end-of-life phase of their products, including recycling or disposal. So it incentivizes them to design products with circularity in mind from the get-go.
So instead of just making a product and then forgetting about it.
Right. It's like cradle to grave, but in a good way.
Yeah, they have to think about what happens to it.
Once it's no longer useful.
It's like building sustainability into the DNA of a product.
Exactly. It's about design for disassembly, design for recycling.
And it shifts the burden of responsibility.
Yes, it puts the onus on the producers.
Okay, what other policy examples are there?
Well, another one that's really interesting is green public procurement.
Green public procurement, what is that?
So that's where governments use their buying power
Okay.
to prioritize goods and services that meet certain environmental standards.
So they're like leading by example.
Exactly. They're putting their money where their mouth is.
And that drives demand for more sustainable products.
It does. It sends a clear signal to the market.
It's like a ripple effect, but from the top down.
Yeah.
But it's not just about top-down approaches. Right.
No, grassroots movements are important too.
Consumer pressure
Yeah, consumers are becoming more and more conscious.
of the impact of their choices.
Yeah, they want sustainable options.
And they're demanding them.
They are. And companies are starting to listen.
It's like a perfect storm brewing.
It is a convergence of policy changes, technological advancements, and consumer awareness.
There's real momentum building here.
There is. And that's what makes me so optimistic.
Okay, so we've talked about individual actions, we've talked about policy changes, the role of technology.
Yeah.
Let's take a minute to really envision what this future might look like.
Okay, I love this part.
Right. What does a world where waste is no longer a problem, but a valuable resource actually look like?
Imagine cities designed with closed-loop systems,
Okay.
where waste is efficiently collected, sorted, and endlessly cycled back into the production process.
So it's like a city that functions like a natural ecosystem.
Exactly.
Right.
Where resources are constantly flowing and regenerating.
There's no such thing as waste.
It's all just material for something else.
And in the circular city, businesses are operating with circular business models.
Yeah, they're designing products for durability, repair, reuse.
And they're actively participating in the recovery and reintegration of materials.
At the end of a product's life.
And consumers are making conscious choices,
Yeah, they're opting for products that are built to last.
engaging in sharing and repair initiatives.
It's a collective shift in mindset
From a throwaway culture.
to a culture of stewardship.
Yeah, it's about being resourceful.
Exactly.
So it's a society where waste is minimized
Resources are valued
and innovation is driven by this desire.
to create a more sustainable and equitable world,
It's a future where we've moved beyond just doing less harm.
to actually creating a net positive impact.
It sounds almost utopian, but
It does, but I think it's achievable.
I think so too.
We have the knowledge, the technology, the passion to make it happen.
We do.
We just need to work together.
Okay, so where can listeners go to learn more about all of this?
There are so many great resources out there. Oh, there are tons. If you're looking for a good overview of the circular economy, the Ellen MacArthur Foundation is a great place to start.
Okay, I've heard of them.
Their website is amazing, tons of information, case studies, inspiring stories, you name it.
It's like a one-stop shop for all things circular.
Pretty much. And if you're looking for more practical advice, everyday tips on how to reduce waste.
Yeah, like hands-on stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Check out the Zero Waste Home website.
All right.
Bea Johnson, she wrote the book Zero Waste Home.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
She's like a pioneer in this movement.
Right.
Her website's full of practical tips, DIY ideas, and it's really inspiring. You can actually do this.
So it's like from big picture concepts to like everyday actions.
Yeah, it's got it all.
There's something for everyone.
Exactly. And if you're looking to connect with other people who are passionate about this stuff,
Oh, yeah, community is important.
it is. Check out the Circular Economy Club.
Okay.
They have chapters all over the world.
Oh, wow.
They host events, workshops, networking opportunities.
It's like a global network of change makers.
It is. It's really inspiring.
And what about for people who are more interested in the policy side of things? Like, advocating for changes.
Oh, yeah. There are some great organizations doing that work.
Okay, any examples?
GAIA, the Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives.
Okay.
They're doing amazing work promoting sustainable waste management practices.
And advocating for policies that support a circular economy.
Exactly. Their website is a great resource.
So there's really something for everyone out there.
There is. No matter what your interest is, there's a way to get involved.
And we'll include links to all of these resources in the show notes.
Of course, so be sure to check those out.
Perfect. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have. It's been a whirlwind.
It has. We've talked about the challenges, the opportunities, the role of technology, the importance of individual action, collective action, policy changes.
Yeah, the whole shebang.
That's a lot to take in.
It is, but hopefully it's been inspiring.
I think so. And as we wrap up, what's the one key takeaway you want listeners to leave with?
The most important thing to remember is that the transition to a circular economy isn't just about minimizing our negative impact.
Okay.
It's about creating a world that is regenerative, equitable, beneficial for everyone.
For both people and the planet.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond sustainability.
Yeah.
And embracing a future of abundance and resilience.
That's beautifully said. It's a vision that is both inspiring and empowering.
It is. It's about recognizing that we have the power to create the future we want to see.
And we're all in this together, right?
Absolutely. The choices we make, the actions we take, they all matter.
It all adds up.
Let's use our collective power to shape a future where waste is no longer a problem, but a valuable resource.
Yeah. A future that is circular, sustainable, and thriving.
That's the goal.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the circular economy and zero-waste living.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've learned something new, gained some inspiration, and are feeling empowered to be part of the solution.
We can do this.
We can. Remember, the future is in our hands.
We have the power to change things.
And together, we can make a difference.
Absolutely. Every little bit counts.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep making those conscious choices that shape a better world.
We'll see you next time.